What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated, unified, lightweight world champion, WBA, WBO, IBF, Ring Magazine, WBC, franchise world champion, superstar boxer, TEOFIMO Lopez, and his father, trainer, and manager, TEOFIMO Lopez Sr., they call out undefeated, 3-division world champion, who simultaneously holds the WBA regular title at 130, 135, and 140, superstar boxer Gervonta Tank Davis, on the heels of Gervonta Tank Davis dramatically knocking out then WBA undefeated regular junior welterweight world champion Mexican star boxer Mario Barrios. With that said, we saw in the post-fight that Gervonta Tank Davis's manager and promoter, retired Hall of Famer, retired former 5-division world champion, former pound-for-pound king, former pay-per-view king, the man known as Money, retired undefeated, 50-0, Floyd Money Mayweather. Gervonta Tank Davis is signed to Mayweather Promotions, okay? So he signed to Mayweather Promotions, he signed to Floyd Mayweather. With that said, Floyd Mayweather, he had some interesting comments following the fight with Mario Barrios for his ace fighter, Gervonta Tank Davis, in which Floyd Mayweather, he stated that they're not in the business of making any other companies rich. So what Floyd Mayweather was stating when asked about Gervonta Tank Davis fighting guys like TEOFIMO Lopez, undefeated WBC lightweight world champion superstar boxer Devin the Dream Haney, or the likes of Shakur Stevenson, who's at 130. He's a former featherweight WBO world champion. Now he's a super featherweight or junior lightweight title contender. He'll be going into a WBO title opportunity against now WBO junior lightweight world champion Jamel Herring. That's scheduled for the fall. With that said, there's tons of fights that everybody wants to see Gervonta Tank Davis in. Vasil Lomachenko, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 3-division world champion, former unified lightweight world champion. Then you have, at junior welterweight, you have undefeated, undisputed British superstar boxer who's the undisputed junior welterweight world champion, official WBA champion, in Josh Taylor. Okay, you also have the likes of 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer Mikey Garcia. You have former IBF junior welterweight world champion superstar boxer Regis Rougarou Prograis. Okay, so you have tons of guys that are calling out Gervonta Tank Davis and they want to see him fight. This in particular is TEOFIMO Lopez Sr. and TEOFIMO Lopez Jr. calling out Gervonta Tank Davis and calling out Floyd Mayweather for the comments he made when Floyd Mayweather says he's not in the business of making anybody else rich, any other companies rich, when asked about Gervonta Tank Davis fighting the likes of these fighters. We know TEOFIMO Lopez, Vasil Lomachenko, these guys are signed to top-ranked CEO and promoter, legendary promoter Bob Arum and ESPN. Devin Haney is Devin Haney Promotions. He co-promotes with Matchroom CEO and promoter Eddie Hearn. They fight on DAZN. Mikey Garcia is on a fight-by-fight basis. So is Regis Prograis. Josh Taylor is the junior welterweight undisputed champion. He signed to Top Rank and Bob Arum and ESPN. So, Floyd Mayweather, when asked, these are the competitive fights that everybody wants to see. When TEOFIMO Lopez Sr. got wind of this and Jr. got wind of this, they responded that Floyd Mayweather is simply avoiding them. Okay, they stated that Floyd Mayweather, is lying about things, about wanting to make the big fights happen, and he's avoiding putting Gervonta Tank Davis in there with the best opposition. Now, my one thing about this is that we now know that TEOFIMO Lopez, he had a deal in place to face his rival, in which he became unified against Vasil Lomachenko in a rematch. Okay, TEOFIMO Lopez, he beat Vasil Lomachenko to become unified. Now he had a great stretch. He faced Nakatani, then he faced Richard Comey for the IBF belt, then he faced off against Vasil Lomachenko and beat Lomachenko. Okay, so he had a great stretch of 3 fights. But with that said, he has to face his IBF mandatory and undefeated Australian star boxer George Kambosos Jr. That was scheduled originally for May 5th. Then it was moved back due to they cited that Floyd Mayweather having his exhibition bout with YouTube sensation Logan Paul on May 6th. That interfered with their fight. June 6th. It was scheduled for June 5th, and Floyd Mayweather fought Logan Paul June 6th, and they cited that Floyd Mayweather was interfering and blocking their fight, so they moved it. We know Floyd Mayweather is still the biggest star in the sport of boxing, so if he's going to fight, all eyes are going to be on it. Floyd Mayweather, he fought a YouTuber, and it did 1 million pay-per-view buys. So with that said, we know, nobody wants to compete on the same weekend with Floyd Mayweather. So they moved the card to June 19th, Juneteenth weekend. Now we know on that date, there was a ton of fights as well, as Jamal Charlo was back in action. Okay, so we know there was other fights in scheduled for that date, and they didn't want to compete with that either. And then they ended up moving the date. Well, they cited that, Teofimo Lopez tested positive, and that the fight had to be moved. So they initially scheduled it now to August 14th. Now they're planning on moving that August 14th date to September. Okay, so now they're saying that, obviously August 14th is the week before the scheduled mega showdown between Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao. It's also the return of Nonito Donaire versus Casamaro. That's a huge fight. There's some fights scheduled for August 14th, and they don't want to compete with that day either. And now they're saying that they could possibly move it to September, and they're looking at it possibly moving from the main event now to the co-main event to legendary 6th Division World Champion, Olympic gold medalist, turned promoter, Hall of Famer, superstar Mexican boxer, Oscar the Golden Boy De La Hoya. He's set to make his ring return, and they're saying that Teofimo Lopez, George Kambosos Jr. can be the co-main event. Okay, so it's not even going to be the main event. But with that said, Teofimo Lopez already has a deal in place. He restructured his contract with Top Rank, which was a surprise, and it was reported that October 2nd was going to see Teofimo Lopez make his first debut on pay-per-view. They didn't have an opponent announced. Well, now we know that Vasyl Lomachenko, who was taking on a common opponent as Teofimo Lopez in Nakatani, we know that that was the opponent. Should Lomachenko have gotten past Nakatani, the opponent was going to be Lomachenko Teofimo Lopez on pay-per-view for bigger money, okay? But obviously, moving back is pushing that date back, and now they're reporting that December is going to be the date for Teofimo Lopez and Vasyl Lomachenko. So the fact that Teofimo Lopez and Teofimo Lopez Sr. are saying that Floyd Mayweather is capping and saying that Gervonta Tank Davis is avoiding them, essentially puts them in that seat, okay? Because they know they have a fight with their IBF mandatory and George Kambosos Jr., which continues to get pushed back. They have to honor that and take care of that business. And then they already had a deal in place to face Lomachenko on pay-per-view in a rematch of their last fight, essentially, because he hasn't stepped in the ring since the Lomachenko fight. So until he steps in the ring against George Kambosos Jr., he hasn't stepped in the ring yet, okay? So the last fight we seen Teofimo Lopez in was against, Lomachenko. Teofimo Lopez, 16 wins, no losses, no draws, 12 wins by way of knockout. He's 23 years of age, stands at 5'8" with a 68-inch arm reach. Is scheduled now August 14th to face George Kambosos Jr. 19 wins, no losses, no draws. Okay, so with that said, we know he already has fights already scheduled. So to say that Gervonta Tank Davis, who is now the hot commodity right now, especially coming off of this big victory, okay, and dropping Mario Barrios 4 times in the fight, twice in the 8th round, twice in the 11th round. Ultimately, that's where he got the stoppage. He's hot, right, on the presses. So, to say that Gervonta Tank Davis, 25 wins, no losses, no draws, 24 wins by way of knockout, 26 years of age, stands at 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach, is avoiding you when you have 2 fights already scheduled. Well, unless they plan on stepping away and pulling out of the fight with Vasyl Lomachenko, you weren't in a position to be available for Gervonta Tank Davis anyway. You're not in position to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. Not this year, and maybe not until the middle of 2022. So to say that Floyd Mayweather now, I would love to see Gervonta Tank Davis against Teofimo Lopez. But to say that they're avoiding Teofimo Lopez is simply not true, because there's impossible if you have 2 fights already scheduled for this year. Okay, then it's not possible that Gervonta Tank Davis could look to fight Teofimo Lopez unless, like I said, he looks to pull out of the fight with Lomachenko. Now, I believe Teofimo Lopez versus versus Gervonta Tank Davis is a bigger fight than Teofimo Lopez versus Vasyl Lomachenko. But now he restructured his deal. There's no way Bob Arum is not going to allow Teofimo Lopez to go outside of top rank to fight a big, massive pay-per-view event against Gervonta Tank Davis, have to split the shares when he could have another pay-per-view event right there in-house, a rematch of his fight with Vasyl Lomachenko. There's no way that's not going to happen. But, we see that Teofimo Lopez Sr., father, trainer, manager, they're doing a lot of talking. They're saying a lot of things. They stated that they wanted to face Devin Haney. That was absolutely next. When it's clear as day, they had a deal in place to fight Vasyl Lomachenko in the rematch. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. I would love to see how everything unfolds in 2022. I would love to see who Gervonta Tank Davis' next fight is. We know Regis Prograis has been calling him out and putting a lot of pressure that he wants to fight, okay? That would be an action-packed fight. Regis Prograis doesn't know any back down. Regis Prograis, is a big puncher. He's a full-blown junior welterweight. He's a former world champion. He's a much better fighter than Mario Barrios. 26 wins, 1 loss, no draws. 22 wins, big wins by way of knockout. 32 years of age, 5'8" with a 67-inch arm reach. So he'll have a 3-inch height advantage, but he'll have the same arm reach as Gervonta Tank Davis. So that would be an action-packed fight. There's no back down in either guy. I would love to see that fight and see how it plays out. So that's all I got for y'all. Let's see what's going on next with all these fights. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Hi, my name is Heather Vahid Hardy, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.